Happy New Year and welcome to 2023, bringing you the second season of Projectozoid Podcast, which will get a bit of shuffle around and new structure in the new year. First of all, we as a team, that means you and I, we will continue to explore the murky waters of project management to get a better understanding of it, but we will also have a series of talks about related topics with people from different industries, discussing all kinds of interesting stuff in a hot seat format, which I have learned from my friend Bente during an interview that I gave to him last year. What does this mean? Well, it means that topic will be given to the invited person in general, but no specific questions will be communicated ahead, and there will be 4 times 4 minutes time slot to answer these questions. Interested in participating for a discussion in one of these episodes? Let me know, reach out, and we can agree. Let's discuss interesting stuff. So, going forward, the first topic of 2023 will be something that my friend Tibor from Switzerland was asking about already last year, and I have promised to get into this a bit deeper. So here we are today, and the topic is how to choose the right people for our project team. So, you're a project manager and you need to put together a team to deliver your project successfully. We already know that the success of your project depends on the people who work on it. So this is quite an important topic. But how do you make sure you get the right people? How can you assure that these people will collaborate? That this team will be functional and not just a group of people each doing their job, but no synergies? Oh well, let's see. Historically, humanity's largest steps have been accomplished not by individuals but by teams. And when we look at what made these teams successful in the past, we learn principles of teamwork to apply to teams today. But first of all, let's see what is a team. Physically, humans aren't formidable. We are just not, we are couch potatoes. We don't have sharp teeth or claws compared to other species. And to be honest, we are not predators, right? So how have we collectively become so deadly and dominant over our environment? Well, the answer has to do with teamwork. A team is defined by its interdependent parts. The actions that one person takes affects the outcomes for everyone else. Unlike groups, teams are made up of people who coordinate their efforts and who depend on each other for overall team success. Some of the most notable historical examples of successful teams are, for example, the Ford Motor Company or the Manhattan Project. But we will get back to this later. First of all, creating a work team is a delicate but strategic phase for any project manager of any project. The outcome of the project will really depend on the choices you made here. Stephen Covey, famous writer and author of the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, states, interdependent people combine their own efforts with the efforts of others to achieve their greatest success. Thanks to teamwork, the shared talent amplifies the value of each individual resource and increases the value of the group as a whole. Makes sense, right? So it is therefore essential that when defining the working group, particular attention is paid to all the people involved in the project. This means all the project associates, coordinators, stakeholders, customers and partners. Everyone. First of all, it is good to remember that in order to create a high-performing project team, it is necessary to follow 3 key steps. Organizational planning necessary for the identification of the team, staff acquisition necessary for approval, and third, which many people forget about, it's team development. Yeah, the classic learning and development phase. All right, so let's take them one by one. Organizational planning. This identifies, documents, and assigns project roles, responsibilities, and relationships. But before the project begins, all roles and responsibilities must be given. This will reduce any confusion after the start of the project. Each team member will know exactly what is expected of him or her and will be able to follow the assigned tasks. Also, having a staff development plan and an org chart will reduce uncertainty and conflict. Indeed, a staff development plan describes how and when human resources will be transferred and removed from the project team. This knowledge of the already planned events will make the whole team smoother. The org chart or organization chart, on the other hand, is a graphical way to subdivide the project's reporting relationships. A detailed org chart will avoid superfluous questions about relationships and connections. Practically, you will see the hierarchy in a project. Who belongs to whom, how the project team is reporting, who is where on this organizational chart in relation to others. For a winning project, it is then essential that there is a good organizational planning. This also includes all the supporting documents necessary to outline each job title and description or any training needs. Very important. That brings us to our second point, which is staff acquisition. The acquisition of the people that have to deal with the project is the process to obtain the necessary human resources assigned that will have to work in the team. So practically, how to get the people into the team. Choosing the right people for the project is almost as important as the project itself. Without an experienced and close-knit team, the project will be much more difficult. Believe me, that's 100% sure. Some things to consider when choosing the team are the previous experiences. In fact, the interests, personal characteristics, availability, skills could give the work team additional determinant capacities. Team members can be chosen internally from the organization thanks to negotiations with managers and other project teams or from outside. It will also be necessary to determine if each team member will work on the project full or part-time. Which brings us to our third point, and that's the team development. The team development of the project team includes the development of individual and also the group skills in order to improve performance. This is something that many project managers forget or don't pay attention to because why would they? Or they don't have the budget to do it. It can be also a constraint, right? So working together as a real team, the project will be more likely to succeed. And development can be achieved in many ways. First of all, team building or reward systems, if you have the power, of course, because in many organizations, project managers just don't have any power to reward team members except giving them good feedback or thank you letters to their managers, and then the team members can count it towards their yearly performance goals and such things. But these can be also simple reward systems. Another development is frequent feedback and personal meetings, because usually if a team member doesn't perform, you can discuss it with them, get their feedback, or you will see how they see the work, where do they see the issues, and it will help you plan better and manage the team better, right? And the last but most important is training. People need training. As soon as you start a project, you will realize that people will have to be trained for some topics. And then you need to make sure that this training happens. Well, let's get down to the very important part, which is how to choose the members of the project team. And there are 7 key elements, or maybe more, but 7 that I have put together and I consider them the more important to choose the right project team members. First of all is the project analysis. It is essential to devote time and effort in order to understand and thoroughly analyze the project. You will have to define the steps and activities that will need to be worked out for a successful completion. It will also be necessary to break down these steps into individual tasks and sub-activities. In this way, it will be possible to easily detect the resources needed to complete the project and its duration based on the set productivity. Second point is the project requirements. It is essential to verify what is required by the management. May it be time limits, budget, or resource constraints, are essential to plan the recruitment and the project team members accordingly. Number 3, meeting with the human resources department. I know everybody dreads this, but the human resources department can assist in finding the most suitable project team members, especially in the case of contractors, outsiders, yeah? And it will also be necessary to prepare, in coordination with HR, a recruitment campaign for the project and the specific training. Point 4 is meeting with other managers. Together with the human resources department, it is also good practice to meet the managers of internal employees in order to obtain a complete view of the staff available for the project. You can ask other managers to provide ratings for their staff skills, technical skills, and teamwork skills so that you can make the best decision based on the real needs. 5th point, refine the selection. Once the options have been assessed, and you have a list of potential candidates suitable for the roles will be drawn up. This will be the basis from which to select the members of the project team who will work for the implementation of the plan in the future. Number 6, the final choice. The list of candidates will be evaluated very carefully in all its details. Finally, the team members who will work on the project will be chosen. These candidates should have the right mix of personal behavioral skills and attributes in order to become members of the project team. If doubts continue about any of the employees, additional personal interviews can be conducted in order to collect additional information. Number 7, analyzing the team. At this point, the project team is made, but there is still remaining one thing to do: to conduct continuous analysis in order to assess whether the team has the necessary balance to complete the project as planned. It will also be necessary to regularly check whether there is a potential personality conflict between team members. Perceiving these conflicts and resolving them straight away will avoid stress and creative blockages during the execution of the project plan. It is very important to have a fully developed and dedicated project team in order to run the project properly. The team includes several people who must work together to carry on the individual activities. Companies, organizations are constantly committed to forming increasingly performing project teams. Work teams that will be able to achieve even complex project goals and which will increase productivity, performance, and return for the organization. Team members, together with the project manager, are the driving forces for a project, and it is therefore essential to know how to choose them well and develop them to the maximum. Now let's see some examples of teams. As I mentioned at the beginning, the Ford Motor Company. If you saw in 2019, there's the movie called Ford versus Ferrari, and the true story behind is one of team success. Ferrari traditionally makes a finely tuned, handmade elite machine, while Ford is famous for pioneering the assembly line. In 1963, Ford attempted to purchase Ferrari, which sparked an unofficial battle between the brands. Ford executives have built a team of designers, drivers, and other experts to design a racing vehicle that would humiliate Ferrari at the 24 Hours Le Mans, a renowned international car race. Racing legend Carroll Shelby and test driver Ken Miles collaborated with existing specialist teams within Ford to build a car to beat Ferrari. By 1966, 3 Ford vehicles finished Le Mans in first, second, and third place. As Blake said, this is a fascinating look at what it takes to build and fund a team for specific quality objective. Why this team was successful? Because of team composition. The Ford team had the right combination of people with the optimal mix of knowledge, skills, and abilities under a leader who provided effective direction, effective leadership. Getting the right people in the right places, role clarity in other words, is another key indicator of successful teams. If people on the team don't know what they're supposed to do, that can cause a lot of conflict. How does the team communicate? How does the team get along? Who does what on the team? This is really crucial and critical for team success. Now let's see the Manhattan Project. The team involved in the Manhattan Project in the 1940s competed in an unofficial race to invent the first nuclear weapon. Major General Leslie Groves of the US Army Corps of Engineers directed the project, so he was the project manager, right? Nuclear physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer oversaw the project's science side at the Los Alamos Laboratory. Many smart, talented people coordinated their efforts across many locations over many years. Mathematicians, physicists, engineers, and manufacturers collaborated to obtain the raw materials and building factories to purify the uranium needed to build the atomic bomb. The team was under constant pressure to work with dangerous and costly materials with the objective to end the Second World War. Now, why this team was successful? Because of mission alignment. Team members understood what is the mission and were committed to it. Everybody had to be focused on the mission for the team to succeed. Also, critical was a supportive context. The government, private businesses, funding, and key leaders were all in place to make the goal a reality. Without the support and coordination provided by the executives, mission alignment would have been harder, if not impossible, to achieve. Analyzing successful teams in history can give us insight into the complex dynamics of high-performing teams. Well, I hope that you got some answers that you were looking for from this episode, and thank you again for listening in 2022 and be with me in 2023. And please do reach out if you would like to be on the show or to discuss any of the topics. Thank you very much. I wish you all a nice day. This was the Projectozoid Podcast. Projectozoid.